If you have an older house or you're stuck with basic builder grade components, you might feel that beautiful upgrades are impossible without gutting the entire room. That's not true. Look at this bathroom. It went from sad to stunning. The best part, I kept almost every major fixtures in place. With just a few clever tweaks, a fresh coat of paint, and some strategic personal touches. What was achieved is this dramatic transformation without spending a fortune. I'm gonna take you through the entire journey. That said, let's do this. So before I dive in, let's take a quick look at this space. This house is over 20 years old. It's been unoccupied for the last 3 years. This is all original with nothing fancy happening in here. But I think we can do better than this. I know it's gonna be tempting to jump around. I tried to make this edit as precise as possible. But if you're brave enough to take on a space like this, make sure you watch the entire video. To start this bathroom facelift, I remove all the unwanted accessories. I begin by scoring the perimeter of the toilet paper holder. Then I gently pried it off the wall. Next, it was onto the towel rack. I removed the wall covers from the outlets, followed by the mirror medicine cabinet. This was not a gut job, so I had to carefully go around and take things apart. I shut off water to the entire house so I can remove the older fittings and replace them with newer fittings. I took down various accessories around the bathroom, including the vanity light. The more I removed, the clearer everything became and the easier it was to see what needed repair. In the beginning of this project, I felt like I was using a lot of mental energy, trying to figure out what the end result would look like before I got started. Eventually, I had to just start, but I quickly realized that I couldn't see beyond its current state. In the meantime, I kept chipping away at things I know I needed to address. Now, it wasn't obvious for me what to do with the tiles around the tub at first. My initial thought was to leave them and work around them. Despite what you see in the video, I was trying to figure it out as I go, piece by piece. As I'm in the process of removing the tiles, I begin to learn more about the space and the construction style. It was certain to me I was gonna leave the tiles, fix the drywall, and leave the step in place. As I got to the north side of the tub, which shared a wall with the shower, the wall started disintegrating in my hands. At this moment, I'm caught off guard. I had to grab a hold of myself because at this point, there was no turning back. So I started to look forward. Initially, I thought this first step was poured concrete, but I realized it was just a bunch of cinder blocks. Since the wall caught me off guard, this was a win for me. Since everything was already crumbling, it made sense that this whole panel came off with a little prying. I don't want to go ham on this wall. Everything I do, I have to do it within reason because I don't want to create more work for myself. Whatever problem you find, it can be fixed. Some issues are simple DIY projects and some you may have to call a professional. It's just a matter of time and budget. People usually do renovation because they're tired of the look or they want to increase their property value. I was aiming for a simple bathroom facelift, but when the walls started crumbling in my hands, a full gut job suddenly felt unavoidable. Gutting the entire space would mean significantly more time and money, but after taking a moment to think it through, I realized I could still avoid doing a complete remodel. You may not have that option or just don't want to go that route that I went. Major renovations are costly, but funding them shouldn't be a painful process. You have to consider your typical financing options. A credit card carries a high APR, 20 to 25% and more, and has low limits, making them a poor fit for a big project. Now, traditional HELOCs or home equity line of credit involve significant friction, and you have to expect to pay anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 in upfront costs. On top of that, waiting 4 to 6 weeks to set up. That delay can completely derail your renovation schedule. So you might be wondering, where am I going with this? Let me introduce you to Avon Home Equity Card. Faster, cheaper, smarter. The Avon card is a new way to tap into your home equity. Think of it as a powerful, low-interest home equity line of credit that works like an immediate credit card. Avon's winning advantage is immediate use, massive savings. Rates are around 7.5% APR, a fraction of the cost of a typical credit card. You can earn a 2% unlimited cash back on every purchase, which is perfect for your major trips to Home Depot or Lowe's. You can access a credit line of up to $400,000 or a minimum of $5,000. You can get approved in as little as 15 minutes entirely online. You only pay interest on what you use. For example, you have a $50,000 line of credit, $30,000 used, which means you only pay interest on the $30,000. This adds flexibility to your project. You can use the Avon card however your renovation requires. You can swipe it for supplies, you can get cash to pay your contractor, or you can do a balance transfer to consolidate your debt. If you want to finance your renovation the smart way, check out the link in the video description to see your offer. It only takes 3 minutes and won't impact your credit score. That said, let's get back to this project.
Clearly, there was water damage inside the wall, and I believe I found the source. If you look at the stone, as we move down to this far end, you can see the stone lost its overhang and the wall sticks out more now, which catches water, allowing water to get inside the wall. Off camera, I repaired the shared wall between the shower and the tub. Instead of using metal stud that was already there, I used pressure treated lumber to reinforce the wall. On the other side of the cement board, there are tiles which I didn't want to touch. Instead of using screws, I used an excessive amount of liquid nail. I wasn't sure at first, but 24 hours later, I am certain this is strong enough. It bonded remarkably well. To be clear, I didn't want to tackle the shower in this project, so I intentionally avoided the responsibility for now. If I choose to address it later, it will be a fun project to take on. In the meantime, there's literally no support between the drywall and the tub. I can't have the wall flexing like that, so let's fix the known issue. I installed 2 strips to the cinder block. I pushed one up slightly so I can join the 2 pieces of drywall in the middle of the wall, and then I'll leave one at the bottom closest to the tub. This way, I know the wall is fully supported before drywalling. And if I want to tile it, I can, but for now, I won't. So progress is happening, and now I'm going to shift my focus to adding support in the wall. At any given moment, I can pull out a paintbrush, so I'm gonna go ahead and get ahead of myself and tape off the windows. I feel good about the progress, so it's time for some drywall. At first, I was going to try to save some money by spray painting the faucet at the tub, but I convinced myself I didn't like the shape. A new fixture would totally improve the look. It was then I decided not to close up the tub completely. It was the only way for me to access the connections. So to keep the progress going, I held off on that and continued the drywall installation. While I'm not completely closing the wall, I thought a partition wall just made a lot of sense here just to create some visual separation. Building this wall was quick, simple, and cheap. This video is very long, so I'm gonna carve this out and create a separate video on it, but make sure your notifications are turned on if you don't wanna miss it. I was going for a snug fit, but it was probably a little too snug, but it still worked out. Anything I added to the bathroom helped the vision come alive. I was struggling to see beyond the feel of the space, so I needed tangible elements to help pull the ideas together. With the wall in place, I'm gonna shift my focus to the shower. The shower totally needed some attention. I scraped off the old silicone to create a clean, defined line between the shower frame and the stone. I also scraped the glass and cleaned the perimeter, which will allow the masking tape to adhere properly. I taped off the shower inside and out, carrying the theme across the bathroom, spraying the frame of the shower with a matte black finish. Now that the parts have shown up for the tub, I can shift my focus to it. Once I got the faucet out the way, it was clear the area's seen better days. I was worried that I would have to repaint the entire tub, which would be a lot of work, or come up with another solution. Luckily, I had a piece of aluminum. I traced the holes onto it, then I drilled them out. Once I confirmed the location was good, I cut the plate down, sanded it, and spray painted it a matte black finish. To refrain from scuffing up the freshly painted surface, I used masking tape to protect it. At this point, the connection has been tested, no visible leaks, and it all works as it should. It's time to close this up and move forward. In my opinion, the small details matters a lot. I sanded the drawer fronts along with the vanity. At last, I was very happy to paint over that greenish look on the wall. I used an all-in-one paint primer with a satin finish. On camera, it gives off a whitish look, but it's not. Eventually, I added 2 coats of paint to the vanity. At this point, the project has been moving along, and it feels good to start installing things. My first instinct was to match up as many of the fixtures as possible to the same color, a matte black. I'm far away from finishing at this moment, but everything I do going forward will start to look like progress. The faucet in the vanity was installed, followed by the plumbing. Running water through the line before connecting them to the faucet is a good way to flush out any debris. Business has picked up and things are moving along. I never cared for this massive mirror on the wall, but I wanted to save where I could. Buying new mirrors would have cost more money, so one way to keep the cost down is keep the mirror and frame it. Liquid nail was applied to the mirror, followed by the frame. If you have a mirror like this, big or small, and is interested in this frame, stay tuned. I will be posting the build video to this. Early in the project, I scraped the floor as thoroughly as I could, knowing I would install vinyl over the tile, which is possible if you ever wondered. Preparation is key. I have several videos on my channel about floors. Check those out if you want to learn more. I actually bought a box of matching tiles for the existing floor. At this point, it was quite clear that I only needed one tile out the box. After thinking about it, I realized I could salvage some of the existing tiles I pulled off the wall. In this case, I don't need matching floors, I need one flat floor. Anyone walking into the bathroom later won't even notice. If you are watching this video, you'll know my secret. I carefully cut the salvage tiles to fit in the required area. Then I mix up some fast setting cement, and when I say fast, you had a couple minutes of work time. I spread some mix on the floor and placed the tile on top. The goal here is to make the new tiles the same level as the old ones. I actually failed on a couple of these because I wasn't fast enough, but I was able to fix it. Overall, it worked out great. Isn't it beautiful? I went to the store scoping out vinyl floors. These floors literally grabbed me by the shirt and said, "Pick me." So I grabbed 5 boxes. At $66 a box and only 7 pieces in each, it became the most expensive item in the facelift. Luckily, I didn't need to do an entire room. Even though it's a small area, the job was tedious because I had to work around a lot of obstacles to get a professional result. I did a floor installation video a few uploads back. The concept was quite similar, but of course I include much more details. I'm at the point where the old tiles are starting to disappear. I didn't do this on purpose, but I just so happened to get lucky that the plank lined up with the toilet drain. Right after installing the floor transition, I noticed the swing of the door interfered with the transition. The only thing to do here is to rip off a thin strip from the bottom of the door. This is something I've been waiting to see since I sprayed the shower. Admittedly, I was a little nervous. I sprayed this about 1 a.m., but it came out pretty well. I see I got quite a bit of overspray on the glass, which I expected, but it's easy enough to clean. I had the old typical mowing trim kit on the shower. I was thinking about spray painting it black to match the shower, but then I decided to look around online and lo and behold, I found a replacement trim kit. Overall, I was able to make this work, but it seems that the cartridge on this one stuck out a bit longer than it should, at least on the ones I saw online. I'm not 100% happy with it. However, it works and it does look a lot better than what was there before. With a little tweaking around the shower towel, I carefully installed the shower arm, followed by the head. The stone here looked pretty terrible with the rust stains in it. I tried to remove it. It wasn't budging. So my next option was to put an exterior masonry paint on it. I actually bought some bathtub and tile paint that was about $20 a can. I don't know how that product would have worked out. I actually never used it before. Seems interesting, but at some point I might rip out this shower and I'd rather put that $40 in some tiles rather than paint. I also replaced the baseboard and casing, which made this space feel much more modern. It's all in the details. This piece of trim is gonna be next to the shower, which is gonna be visible. A lot of this is like practice for me, so the more I get used to doing this, the more I raise my standard and expectations, the more I raise my quality of work. Once all the trims are on, you have to go around and fill the nail holes. My preference to doing that is using drywall mud. Spackling could work as well. One of the main reasons for keeping the same vanity is to save money. When you're trying to save money, it usually means more work. Aside from sanding and painting, I needed to drill some holes for the new handles. One of my biggest challenges early on was trying to find black modern handles that matched the existing holes in the drawers. After scouring the internet, I came across these. I don't love the style of them, but they were black, which I wanted, and they're adjustable. Everything that touches the eye is either an improvement or a distraction. With that in mind, I replaced the old GFCI outlet with a more modern one. The Decor styles are my favorite. They match perfectly with the screwless plates. Right now the race is on. I'm in that last 5 to 10%. This is where things feels like it's almost done, but not quite there. I was trying to ignore this old soap holder, but I eventually couldn't do it no more. So I proceeded to take it off the wall carefully. Given my experience early on in the project, I wasn't sure how sturdy anything was. I was successful getting that soap holder out the way and also removing this piece of towel. It was by chance that I kept one of the older tiles that was removed from around the tub. I need to clean that up now and install it here. Putting this soap dispense seemed like a nice upgrade to me, so I'm happy with that. As I'm putting the finished touches on this place, I had to bring out the big guns. It's crazy watching her grow up so fast. Alright guys, let's take a visual on what this space looked like before I came in here and did the work. Even though the space was dated, it was functional. It just needed some TLC, and I think that was delivered. This bathroom has been unused for the last 3 years, and I have a feeling that's gonna change. This is how it started, and this is how it's going. Let me set the tone with this note. Regardless of what you think of the space and how it came out, the goal I was trying to accomplish here was to show you that you can take the same space, regardless of what it looks like, change a few things, and completely deliver on your style. I got nervous one time on this project, but outside of that, it was exciting the entire way through. I don't know how soon I could get to this, but do you guys think I should redo this shower? Leave a comment down below. Let me hear what you guys think. Oh, and if you guys are still here, you know the routine. I was not going to finish this video without some kind of LED. In an upcoming video, I will show you exactly how it's done. There's one more surprise, and that's the linen closet. I didn't plan on doing this, but I also didn't want the bathroom to feel unfinished in this area, so stay tuned. In an up and coming video, I will show you how it's done. So you've seen the work. Now, how much does this cost? Minus the many hours of work, this project has an estimated cost of $1,750 in materials.